we're starting part 2. We're with Kate. I call her Kate the Great, but I've known her for a long time.
Dan the man.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about part 2, and that's where we're going to terminate employees and what are our rights and all that good stuff. So question number 1, when terminating an employee, what form should I be using?
Terminations, the actual act of it's pretty cut and dry.
Okay.
If it's a voluntary termination, meaning they're leaving on their own accord, make sure to get a letter of resignation, especially right now. If you've taken a small business loan or anything like that to help you with your payroll, you absolutely have to have that proof that they left on their own accord. You didn't fire them. Because it might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, it might not be in 6 months, but eventually the government will find you and get their money back.
That sounds very haunting.
Yes, they know where you live.
I do.
At least on the HR side of the house, we are all like, we're being very buttoned up about this because we just got a whole load of new law thrown in our laps here in the last 90 days. So
yeah, we're
definitely crossing our T's and dotting our I's.
All right. So a breakup letter.
Mm-hmm.
What about things like payment, last check? How fast does that have to get out?
So in any termination situation, I would recommend, if it applies to you, if you've got benefits for them, if there's like a 401k set up or things like that, even if you don't have that, I recommend sending a separation letter is what I call it. Email it to their personal email address, and it just says, this is your last date of hire. This is, if you know when they can expect their last paycheck, put that date in there. Your benefits are good through May 30th. Any of that kind of like final information is always good to send out. If they left and you want to do an exit survey, you can send them the link to the exit survey. We use SurveyMonkey. It's pretty cheap. Then that's about it. So make sure if it's a voluntary, make sure you get their resignation, send that out. You're good to go. Terminate them from all your systems. Last paycheck depends on the state that you live in.
Okay.
And the laws change regularly. So recently, I believe it's Kentucky, there's about 7 states that when you terminate someone, you basically have to hand them their last paycheck.
Okay.
So we had an instance where someone assaulted another employee, but all our paychecks were run out of Virginia and they were in Kentucky, and it happened, we sent them home, and then we had to overnight the paycheck to make sure that it got there the next day, so that he came in to meet with the manager, he handed him his paycheck, and then he could go. So we had to keep that person on another 24 hours in order to make that happen.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy stuff like that. It's that happens. But so yeah, it depends on your state. This is the long and short of it. Most voluntary terminations, if they leave, generally it's just till the next payday you have. It's the involuntary terminations that will get you.
Got it. So if I get a call from a terminated employee, so I'm getting ready to hire an employee, and so I'm going to call their old employer, and so you have the terminated employee. I want to hire them. What information can you tell me about my possible new hire?
I am only going to tell you the dates they worked for me. I'm only going to confirm their title that they had while they worked for me and their pay, how much I paid them. I'm not going to tell them if they left involuntarily or voluntarily. I'm not going to give them any of the nitty-gritty details, because even if they left and they set fire to your office and you had to terminate them, it ended very terribly, they could still say it was discriminatory. And
okay.
Even though they don't have a leg to stand on, it's still costing you money to hire your attorney to go down to the office and send letters for you. So.
What if some of the data that you hear, like, well, Dan was super CFO, and you're like, no, Dan just was just a janitor. And so what happens if something's different, right? What do you still correct it then, or do you just say?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's the truth. Like in my system, they were a database administrator one, not the senior guru database engineer level 5. Like,
got it.
We let him plug the servers in, kind of thing. We didn't let him,
Okay, got it.
You can correct that, and I think the most common mistakes that I correct are the dates that they worked for me. Okay. So they'll kind of extend that last date so it doesn't look like there's a gap in their employment, or on the front end or on the back end. So those are probably the most common, and I usually just give the month and the year. I don't even give like the specific day.
All right. So let's say I left you last year, worked another job, and I decided, you know what, I really liked working for Kate, so I want to go back and work for Kate. How do I reapply? What does that look like? What are you going to ask of me? Would I have to go through all the testing again and all that, if you do drug testing and all that stuff? So give me a rundown on that.
So we have employees who've left and come back to us within 30 days, and we still put them back. For everyone that works for the company I currently work for, everyone gets drug tested, everyone goes through a background check. Even though most of us have our security clearances, I work for a government contractor. We do IT for the government. Even though they have their clearance, we still run everyone through, because something could have happened in that 30 days that they weren't with us. And stuff has happened in that 30 days that they weren't with us, where they got a DUI, or they got, they were in jail for overnight for assault or domestic issues, or I think was the instance. But
all right. So the process is the process.
The process is the process. Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
But feel free to get that old file out and dust it off and make sure all the information is correct, but make sure to get the new I-9.
Got it. All right. So this is kind of, I'm going to go a COVID question now. So what I'm seeing here in the Arizona world is that a lot of workers don't want to come back to work because they're making way more on unemployment than they did in their old job. So I don't know if you will see that because you work with higher level professionals, but what would be your recommendation if somebody said, yeah, I'm not going to come back until I run out of unemployment? What would you do?
Terminate them. So basically they're telling you they don't want to come back to work.
Okay.
And it's not going to go well for them because you offered them a full-time job back, and the state's, once they're terminated, the state's going to come back to you as their employer and say, why did you terminate them? You can say, well, do it in an email. Most HR stuff, I would say, do it in an email so you have the paper trail.
Okay.
So send them that email like, I would like to put you back on schedule full-time. When can you start? And if they say, I'm not coming back to work, then you've got your proof that they've basically rescinded coming back, and so that was why you terminated them. And then unemployment's going to go down a lot for them if they didn't come back to work.
Okay.
And then they have to prove they're out there looking for jobs and putting resumes out there while they're on unemployment. So.
All right. So send a termination letter. What happens if you call me back from my furlough? Do we see the prior question where you redo all the paperwork, send out the new paperwork? And
generally speaking, and I'm caveating this with, there are some states that have, like California, that have very specific guidelines around this. So I will speak generally, caveat that it's state specific, but it's also union specific. So I would be surprised if any of your clients are union, but that's another caveat. Once they come back, they're basically treated like they're on a leave of absence. And it's this weird purgatory where they're on a leave of absence, they're still kind of an active employee, yet there could be potentially getting paid by the government, by unemployment.
Okay.
So you would just reactivate them. There really wouldn't be any changes.
Okay.
You wouldn't have to I-9 them because you never fully terminated them.
Okay.
Unless they were furloughed for a long length of time, and open enrollment had gone and passed and things like that, then you would go back and address those areas. But for the most part, it would just be putting them back on the schedule.
All right. Yeah, we went through all the questions. Any last thoughts you have, or any just pearls of wisdom?
Put it in writing.
Okay.
Document.
Okay.
Don't trust everything you Google for HR. I know there are a lot of really good sites. The SHRM site, shrm.org, which is the Society for Human Resources Management, has a lot of free information on there that's really helpful to employers. They've got a lot of really good templates. So those templates for offer letters, performance evaluations, things like that, they're all there. If anyone's having issues downloading, I have an account, so I'd be happy to forward any templates anyone needs.
Okay.
And treat them like people and treat them like your family, and usually they'll treat you like that as well.
Perfect.
I'd say people just want feedback. They just want to like coming to work, and they want to know that they're actually helping, and you should, most of the risks should be pretty mitigated. I would say that comes down to most of my issues come from not treating people as well as they could have been treated.
Got it. See, you had your pearl of wisdom. Way to go.
I found it. Don't worry. But at the same time, on the other hand, they will always surprise you. Every time I think I can write a book and I've seen it all, someone busts out a whole new, what the fuck? Issue.
Well, now you've got a second book you're working on.
Yeah, I have a second book.
So Kate's thinking about starting her own business as an HR guru, but she has nothing official yet. But she is willing, I think she said, willing to help anybody out if they have questions. I'm sure there'll be a fee associated with her help because her time is valuable as well. But do you have an email that they can use?
Yep. Kate, Kate.Henneberger, HENNEBERGER @gmail.com.
Perfect. Do you want it all contact to go through the email, or do you want to?
Yeah, or you can call me on my cell phone. It's 602-370-2080. I've held on to that Phoenix number all these years.
You did. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I'm not committed that I'm going to be staying here. It's been 7 years, but I'm still like, I might come home.
But it's like our identity now, our number. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is a conversation starter.
Well, I appreciate your time, Kate. You're the best. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah.